So, thank you for the intermediate entertainment part, and welcome to the second presentation of tonight. And thanks to Christian for the great introduction, how to get from sand to silicon to transistors to microprocessors. I'm looking more into devices like this little piece here, which allow us to create new types of content, and finally to create some immersive experiences where we're blending over the real and the digital world in new ways. So, any guess what this is?
360 degrees camera.
Okay. You have seen it's indeed a fully 360-degree camera with two 180 fisheye lenses, and I'm just taking now with this click here a panoramic picture, and I think this is an exciting example how silicon and microprocessors, enabling really exciting new technologies. All right, so, and by the way, you can see the result of the picture I've taken later. There was already an introduction about myself, so my talk is about how silicon empowers immersive experiences. So again, I see there are new ways to blend over digital and physical worlds, and this is powered by a lot of new technologies. And my company, Dexperio, is specializing on these new technologies, especially on augmented and virtual reality, because this is basically the foundation to create these next generation experiences. And I'd like to start now with an example from Intel, because Intel has a lot of very exciting new technologies which help in that area, and you probably heard about Intel RealSense, but I still think it's a great intro what these new technologies can enable for experiences.
Our world isn't one or two-dimensional, it's three-dimensional. And with the integration of true 3D-capable cameras across a range of Intel computing platforms, so is your computing experience, giving you the power to capture and share your world. Extend your reach. Express yourself in new ways. Create something dramatic. How are slices covered? Learn something entirely new. Send it to me. Connect. Focus. And collaborate. Full 3D computing is here today, connecting you with what matters most in ways you never imagined. All you have to do.
That's all for now. There's more to come. This is just the beginning.
Is look inside.
All right, so who has already had a chance to play around with the RealSense technology? There have been a bunch of hackathons, so great, and I think the wording is great. This is just the beginning, we have had some prototype cameras. The first commercial products are out, but I think there will be much more advances in the future, and this is really just the beginning for a lot of exciting new experiences. So you have seen the technology is basically taking pictures like with an RGB camera, but there is also a depth sensor, which allows you to really get a 3D representation of a room, because it can actually detect the depth information. You can basically scan. There's a product out there from Hewlett Packard called Sprout. It's a PC with the built-in RealSense camera, and it's really focusing on 3D object scanning. You just put an object under the camera, and you immediately get a 3D model and can manipulate it and do something with it. You can also go into very new, exciting ways to take pictures, because you get the full picture information, and you can decide later what the areas of focus are you want to have in your picture. You can, like we have seen, create new ways of communications, like a chat where you really take a person out of its context, put it in another context. And of course, you can do also wave gesture recognition. So we're actually building a prototype of a virtual boxing game where we're using this technology to detect the hand movements and then give a gameplay where people can do a simulation of a real boxing game. So I think this is a great introduction, how technology can help us to deliver new digital experiences. And I'd like to focus on three things in my talk. The first is about the Internet of Everything, because I think it's a great example how digital technologies are invading our lives, and allow us to do many exciting new things. Then I want to talk about the digital experience spectrum, because there's a full range from experiencing something in the real world, starting to augment it, make mixed reality, up to the full virtual reality experience. And the final part will be about the enabling technologies behind these experiences. So let's start with the Internet of Everything. I think the exciting part is that we're having more and more devices and services, and we're using them in all kinds of different contexts. When you think about a context, your body is becoming a smart body, because you're putting a smartwatch on your hand, you're putting a smart glass in your face, and there are many different other exciting technologies in the wearable space, so that your body is becoming a computing environment. But then you have your smart life, the places where you spend most of the day, your smart home, with a connected TV, with a connected kitchen. Then you go into your smart car and drive in your smart office. There you're spending a lot of your time. But you also go out in the smart life, in the smart world. This means you go into a shop, and then there are suddenly some beacons who start to talk to you. So the whole world is getting much more, filled with all kinds of digital technologies. And I think this is powered by all the sand and silicon, companies like Intel are basically developing. Then you're using a lot of services, because all the context and the devices are useless without all the data and the computing power we have in the cloud. When we look into the devices, we have classic devices like PCs, mobile devices, smartphones, but a lot of new device types are emerging, all kinds of connected devices, wearables, sensors, and this is the new playground we have for building next generation experiences. And I will focus a little bit on technologies which are helping us to build more this immersive kind of experiences. So it's about augmented and virtual reality technology. And you've probably heard about most of the devices here. A lot of them will come out soon, or have been already on market, have been taken away from market, like Google Glass. But there's still a lot of technology development going on, and we will see a lot of exciting stuff coming up. I highly recommend a company called K0. It's a UK-based consulting company, and they're tracking all the developments in the world of virtual and augmented reality. And so they have a very good overview on what kind of products and technologies are already on the market or will come soon. And the exciting part is the big launches of the consumer products, like the Oculus Rift and other high-end headsets, are just next year, but you see already how many devices are here on this chart. And when you look into these numbers, it gets even more exciting, because it's a projection how many devices will be sold in the next couple of years. So, and we are now in 2015, and don't wonder, there are just some development devices out there. There's nothing on the market you can buy now, but there's a huge prediction for the upcoming years that this augmented and virtual reality headsets will really get a big market, So, pardon? So there are a lot of, virtual reality or augmented reality is in the first place something for the eyes, how you see and experience different worlds, but you need also some interaction capabilities. So how you track basically the movement of a person in a virtual room. So just an example, there is a product out there called OmniVirtux. It's like a kind of virtual treadmill. So you have sensors on your shoes, and you have a ring across your body so that you don't fall off when you use it, and then you can really fully move yourself in a virtual environment, and all the movements you're doing are fully, transferred into the virtual reality environment to give you this presence, the feeling that you are really in a virtual world. And there, I think the exciting part is that some people say that the market for this input system is at least as large as the market for the headsets themselves. I think they can focus on a good computing power, on visual representation, but you need a lot of additional technologies to interact with these virtual worlds. And I think we will see a lot of very exciting developments here.
Do you think the majority of the sales in the beginning is going to be to businesses or to end customers? Do you think that the majority of the sales you project in this chart is to businesses or to private customers?
That's actually a good question. You know, I think when you look into the announced price point, for instance, for Oculus Rift, they just recently mentioned that you probably need a computer worth around about €1,000 just for the computing power. You need the device itself, which is probably another €500. So it's probably a niche market in the beginning for hardcore gamers, for instance, you know. Not a mass market yet. On the other hand, probably a lot of businesses are starting to buy this technology to create an immersive showroom to present their product. So I think we will see how the market will develop, you know, but it's not a huge market in the beginning, just early adopters like gamers or special businesses which see a value will probably take off. But there's another thing I'll talk later about. It's you can already do a lot of cool stuff with cardboards and your telephone, you know, your smartphone. It's not the full experience like having a high-end headset for €1,500, but it's still something which is pretty exciting.
So that might be that might provide a bridge to the higher end stuff, right?
Yeah, and actually, would you buy a first-generation product which is pretty expensive? Maybe you would wait until the whole market is more matured, and then you would go in, you know. And so my expectation is that devices like these little cardboards help people to get in contact. We see a lot of people who the first time in their lives make a virtual roller coaster ride or something. They're totally excited. They have never seen it before. And for this first moment, it's totally okay to have not the best resolution and not the best frame rate, whatever, but it doesn't matter. But this technology helped to create the awareness at the broad mass market that a cool technology is emerging. Yeah? And by the way, this chart, I think it's 3 months old. It's wrong anyway. So there are others outside, but the most exciting part is each one of these charts is showing high numbers for the future, you know. All right, so now that we've seen a few examples how digital technologies in the Internet of Everything are invading our lives, I want to now specifically show you the digital experience spectrum. So I told you before, you can experience the real and the virtual world in different degrees. You know, you can start basically in the real environment. Let's say you go in a shop and you have your smartphone. This is an example of an application we built where we have beacons in the store, and they talk to you when you're crossing a product. And let's say you're interested in sneakers and you're running across a sneaker. He can talk to you and say, well, I have a little video. Are you interested to view it, whatever? So there is already a way to extend your physical experience with some digital technologies, but it's in a way it's disconnected because you have a separate device, you know, there's a little bit of communication, but it's not really blended over. This is different when you start to do augmentation, you know, and this is an example of Google Glass. I simply took it because we have also did 2 years of Google Glass development. And as you know, the product has been taken from market or has never been launched. But I think we will see a lot of augmentation technologies coming. You know, a lot of people use it today with their smartphones, with their tablets. But it's, of course, much more convenient to have a virtual reality glass. And when you look on a product, you see some additional information, the pricing, maybe some social recommendations from others. And I'm convinced that when the technology is more mature, maybe in 5 or 10 years, and everybody has a little clip he can put on his ordinary glasses, nobody sees that you're wearing this fancy technology, but you still can do augmented reality experiences, then this will be cool. You know, you've probably heard about Microsoft HoloLens, also an upcoming technology. So there will be a lot of exciting stuff coming. You know, so you start to look into the real world, but there's more and more digital overlay coming into place. And you can go to the next level. This is an example from a company who's also in Werk 1. They are selling this Enshow dressing system. It looks like a huge iPhone. You know, it has a gesture recognition built in. It's based on Kinect, not on RealSense yet. And so you can stand in front of this device, it scans your body, and then you can start to virtually make some dressing stuff. So you see the digital information is getting more dominant. So you still see your body, your face, but the rest is maybe a digital overlay, you know. And of course, the final version of this experience spectrum is when you go fully virtual, you know. Let's say you're sitting at home on your couch in the living room, and you go in a virtual shopping mall, you know, and maybe you even meet other virtual shoppers. By the way, I think this will be a big thing. Even Oculus is working on a social cinema experience. So you are going into a cinema and you see other people sitting in the cinema and you watch together a movie, you know. Seems to be something which is starting to take off, you know. It's probably not for everybody, you know, but some people maybe think this is cool, you know. But again, it's the full spectrum. And when we think about digital experiences, we try to design them in a way that the consumer can decide how he want to experience it. Let's think about this room here. I took a picture before, a 360-degree picture. Now we could start to augment this information with some markers, with some overlays. Let's say I'm looking onto the Intel logo and I'm getting some additional information about Intel. While I'm here in the room wearing an augmented reality glass, I would see this marker and get the experience by being here. But by having the full video or 360-degree panorama, I could experience it also at home. You know, I would look on a digitally generated virtual reality, but I could have the same information. And that's the kind of exciting part about it, that you can have this experience in different degrees, more on the real world side, more on the virtual side. Okay, so now that we have seen what this digital experience spectrum, there's a question?
Sorry again. But isn't this just like really narrow-minded because it's just replicating current experiences, but digitally? Wouldn't it be more attractive to create experience you otherwise wouldn't be able to have?
That's a good question, and we come to that later, because it depends, of course, based on what kind of material you're doing stuff. Let's say you're creating a virtual reality game. You can do something complete artificial, which is never real, you know, and that's the coolness of it. On the other hand, you maybe want to create something which is hyper-realistic, like, for instance, we're doing now a boxing game, and we're taking the kickbox champion, world champion guy, and we want to make it give you the impression you are really boxing against a real boxer, you know. So we're trying to replicate the reality, you know. So it depends on what your intention is, you know. And of course, you can give the ability to experience something totally artificial, or to give people the ability to experience something in a way they never can do in reality. Let's say you put, you're capturing, for instance, we talk about this for a project, you put a camera on the head of a polo player, you know, because you probably don't play polo, you know, but when you have a 360-degree camera on a helmet of a guy who is playing polo, you give him the ability to somehow feel like it is to play polo, you know. It's of course not the real thing, but simply having this viewpoint, you know, and all the other things, it gives you the ability to experience the reality in a way you have never done before.
Maybe talk later about that, but for myself, I really like augmented reality, and you can see stuff, you can hear stuff, but for myself, I want to feel like, you know, if I'm virtual shopping, I want to feel how close this on my body. Is there any?
I know exactly what you mean, and this is indeed a problem, you know. So, and again, it's exciting when I talk about our virtual boxing game, because on the one hand, you know, you see your real hands, you know. We did it with real hands or leap motion, and you have a kind of real boxer in front of you in a real boxing arena, you know, and you are really knocking him and everything, and you have the noise and everything, but what you don't have is the knockback, you know. You don't get the punch when he is knocking you down, and I think it will be exciting to see to what degree this is harming your excitement, you know. But I'm sure that there are already some technologies which try to give you some haptic feedback on even virtual reality. But I think over time we need this very urgently. At the moment, the focus is more on the realistic, you know, projection and the kind of immersive, you know, the interaction with the system, not having real haptic feedback. But we need this.
I'm all up for that. Okay, but I have to be a little bit of an example. Are we investigating the same foresight that we are projecting these technologies, the social and economic implications of these technologies are linguistical synapses? When we all roam the streets in chimeras, you know, the mix of virtual and real instead of using the thought. For example, pornography. What are your thoughts on this?
You know, yeah. I can. So when it comes to this kind of stuff like pornography, you know, like all technology advances have had their most financial success in the porn industry. You know, it was the video cassette format war, whatever. So each technology, CD-ROMs, the internet, you know, there was always this pornography stuff, which was a huge market. And actually, even one of the more prominent porn portals of the US announced recently even some technologies, you know, where you're combining your visual impressions with some devices, you know. So in other words, I'm fully, and we talk, to be honest, to a lot of people in this virtual reality space. And just today I had a talk to a person who is working on a business around this kind of content, you know. So I'm sure that this is one part of the spectrum. And in case you're able to create some virtual environments, even with some sensory whatever stuff, pornography is one of the fields which it probably could work. Maybe not for everybody, but I think it will be a huge market from a business perspective.
I wasn't referring particularly to certain stuff. I wasn't
No, but in general, I think that what happens here is pretty exciting, you know, because you know, a lot of digital technologies changed fundamental behavior. Look around you when you go out on the streets, you know, most of the people are staring on their smartphone screens, you know. Look back 10 years, it wasn't the case. And so I think a lot of, and even children start now to try to touch the television screen at home and say, Daddy, the television is broken, there's nothing happening when I touch on it. So a lot of technologies are invading our lives and become pretty a full part, you know, and they change a lot of stuff. Like, look at the smartphones and how people communicate today. You know, it was totally different 10 years ago. And I think also these technologies will bring this social change, the interaction, to another level, you know. And I'm not sure if this is all good or not, but it will happen, and we need to carefully look into the impact to our society and all that kind of stuff, you know. But I think there will be a lot of very exciting changes, and maybe the impact on our personal lives, you know, and even the society is bigger than everything we have seen before. You know, think about scenarios when you do remote consultation, you know. Maybe you don't go out yourself. You make a video chat with your customer and he's repairing his broken whatever himself because you can give him instructions. You can see what's wrong, you know. This would change the repair business, just as an example. And I think the kind of disruptive potential of these technologies is broader, like everything we've seen before, from my opinion, you know. This is why I'm so excited about it, and I'm building, hopefully, a successful business around it. So do you agree, or do you say it's just another, I don't know, it's like having smartphones, or is it potentially bigger? What do you think? Maybe you're not decided yet, you know.
It's good not to be decided yet. It's a very good feeling to have amongst technologists and futurists and speculators and technologists to be in this junction. Yeah. But when I did my anthropology PhD on the number in generation of mobile phones.
Yeah.
So from communications went to smartphones.
Yeah.
So it is part of my job to brush on how social structures, whether it's indigenous people or the Western singularity, how it mixes together.
Yeah.
So I find it very interesting. I see go for it.
Yeah. No, it will be very exciting, you know, and what we've learned, every digital technology which is possible is coming to market and find its ways of use, you know. It's up to us to reflect, you know, if it's good what we do with this technology or not, you know. And yeah, so it's an exciting point in time to be. And so wait and see what happens, you know. In the next part, I go a bit more deeper into some examples of devices which are enabling these experiences, but also then go more into the capabilities, you know, because the devices providing new capabilities, and when you combine all these stuff, you get a new experience level, you know. And let's start on the device side. We have our standard computing devices, you know. This is a good example of an existing technology like a tablet, which has gone to the next level. So this Dell tablet has the RealSense camera built in. So now you have an ordinary tablet and can do certain things which have not been possible before. You can make, in 10 seconds, a 3D 160-degree scan of your head and have a 3D model of it. I've seen a game developer who is building some technologies that you can really make an avatar head in 10 seconds and put it into your Unity game development, you know. It has not been possible in that quality before, you know. So it's a good example for an existing computing device which went to the next level. We have also seen augmented reality headsets, you know. I was a big fan of Google Glass. We did a lot of development, but it was not ready for prime time, you know. But it's not just about Google Glass, you know. There are, I think, last year I read a report and there have been more than 10 to 15 augmented reality glasses close to market release, you know. And there are many devices out there. Even Intel just recently acquired a company who is doing an augmented reality headset. I don't know the name. But you see a lot of augmented reality devices already today more in industrial production, because most of the devices look really ugly, you know. I think Google Glass was a nice, more stylish approach, but it was still not socially accepted in the public, you know. And so there are a lot of augmented reality devices, and there are some people who say it takes another 5 to 10 years until this is getting really a mass phenomenon, you know. But I fully believe that the augmented reality part will be something we are experienced the whole day. Think about HoloLens. Maybe you're getting, when this technology is out there from Microsoft in 1, 2, 3 years, maybe a lot of people will use this technology in their workplace. They will not run around with an augmented reality computer on their head, but they maybe use it extended hours during the day for their job to do some construction stuff, whatever. And I think in the end, the augmented reality technology will be maybe spend 60 to 70, 80% of our daily usage, and the 20% is for virtual reality. It's like going into cinema, having entertainment, playing games, watching a movie or something. But we will have all these technologies. It's not just about the augmented reality headsets. We talked about this, the holographic stuff like HoloLens, you know. And in case you haven't seen this Microsoft HoloLens video, just search for it, and it's pretty exciting, you know. And I know people who had this technology on their heads. They tried it out, and they say, it's cool. It's maybe not as cool as the video Microsoft has done in the first version, but it's really very, very promising, you know. But it's not just about the holographic headsets, it's also about holographic projection, you know. Even when I took the picture here, I have a full 360-degree information about the environment. And can you hear me? Okay. Should I stop talking, do some dancing, or? Okay. No, but when you have this information and you have the geometry of, you could take a Dell tablet and make a capturing of the room. Let's say you have 4 walls, and then you know how you need to beam out the content of the video to give you the illusion that you have a virtual room rather than a squared room with 4 walls, you know. And so I think even holographic projection is coming to a point where it's affordable. So this device is a Kickstarter project and costs around about $800 or $900. You know, will come out in a couple of months. So even holographic projection will become a reality more and more. And of course, we will see virtual reality headsets, you know. You have heard about Oculus Rift, about the Sony Morpheus, about the HTC Valve. Everybody is building something. And so thank you. Okay. But there's not just you know, the regular high-end headsets. There's mobile VR, which is, from my point of view, even more exciting, because when you have had such a Oculus Rift and all the cabling behind you, it's not fun, you know. But when you put on a let's say a Samsung Gear VR, you know, it's the freedom you feel. Just put your phone in and you can walk around, and it's also not too bad what you can experience. So there will be a lot of exciting headsets come out. Okay, so but the question is, with these devices, what kind of capabilities are contributing to this immersive experiences? And it's about, the first part is about how can I sense for the context, you know? I'm somewhere, but I need some contextual information. And when you think about wearables, you know, they can give you some contextual information about your body, you know, what's your heart rate, you know, what's your blood pressure, whatever. So this gives you a context, you know. Wouldn't it be cool in a couple of years to have a sports broadcast where you can feel the heart, or you can see the heartbeat of the football player when he scores? You know, oh, it was 130, you know, when he did the score, you know, because he had some wearable on his body which is captured. And it would be even cooler in 15 years when you can reproduce the heartbeat on your body. Then you have some sensory output, whatever, some injection which is getting into your body. No, just kidding, but this is really about capturing experiences and reproducing it, you know? And I'm sure that in many years, we go even in that area where you can try to influence some body data by some technologies, you know? It will maybe take a while, but I think it's not totally wild. Okay, so we have wearables to sense your body. We have, of course, all this beacon and Bluetooth technologies which allow us to interact, to get some proximity information, you know, and based on that proximity, how close you are to an object, you can do something. We have the good old technologies like Wi-Fi or GPS, you know. You don't necessarily need to put thousands of beacons in a shopping mall to get some proximity information. You can do indoor navigation up to 1 or 2 meters based on your Wi-Fi signal, you know. So there are also some old technologies which helps you to get some context. And of course, another area of getting context is this RGB depth information. So all the kind of cameras we will get. And there are already a bunch of products out there with the Intel RealSense. There are some laptops out there with the camera built in. There are some tablets out there, and for sure, most of the devices will have a depth sensing camera soon rather than have just an RGB camera. So we can sense for context, but we can also interact in a different way. And I think for me personally, the first time I had an iPad in my hand and was able to touch, it was really a life-changing moment. At that moment, I decided to leave my old employer, which I worked 9 years, because I seen there's something interesting going on. Another company has invented something big, you know, and we are using now touch every day. But I think this in itself is a very exciting technology. And before having this touch capabilities, the digital world was different, you know. It's not just about touch, it's about voice, you know, and maybe you're not so excited about it, you know, and we have seen the first versions of Siri and all the jokes about it, but I have also an Android smartwatch, and not yet on my hand, but or not here with me, but I realized it's working so good these days that I'm using it more and more often, you know. It's very natural to just speak on your watch, ask for something, and it simply works. It was not the case 5 or 10 years ago, but voice has also a chance to become a much bigger part of our lives, and especially also in virtual reality applications. It's very helpful for navigation into a virtual scene, you know. We built, for example, an application where you can navigate in a virtual real estate object, and then you can switch the floors just by your voice, floor number 1, floor number 2. So I think voice will be a bigger part of our digital lives. Look into the commercials like Google is doing now on television. You know, it's a lot about search and voice, and even my daughter is talking to her computer all day, Google, and you know, this wouldn't have been the case 5 years ago because the quality was not so good. The next thing is about gestures. You know, we can now start to interact with our computers by really doing some gestures. You know, very exciting. Again, it's enabled by technologies like RealSense, like Leap Motion, and I've even heard about other exciting technologies where you can detect some gestures by the change in the frequency spectrum of your Wi-Fi signal. So, a company really did some research, and they figured out that there are some characteristic gestures, and when you do like this, they can detect a change in the frequency spectrum, and they can use it as a gesture, you know. And you just need your wireless network and some special router settings, and then you can even start to interact with gestures based on your Wi-Fi spectrum. So that's exciting, and so we will see a lot of other exciting things. Today I talked to a company, a startup, who are building some gesture recognition technology based on ultrasound. They would say they come next year to market with a product which is like a $1, a €1 coin, and the cost will be significant below €10. You know, this, in case they, I ordered already some beta kits. You know? No, but I'm not sure if they're really able to deliver, but you see that there will be a lot of exciting technologies coming to really capture your gestures and use it for interaction. And of course, there is motion. You know, it's not just your gesture of your head. You know, I just recently met the CEO of this company. So they have a Kickstarter campaign running. So it's €800. It's this Vertux Omni thing. It's a kind of like a virtual treadmill. You know, you have sensors on your shoes. You start running. You know, and there's this thing on your belly which makes sure that you don't fall off. You know, but it's very exciting what you can do. Very realistic. Gaming, you can move your body, you can do some shooting games, whatever. And so you can really capture the motion, you know, and bring it into the system. Okay, so the next thing is how you visualize stuff, you know. It's about the augmentation, you know. We have seen the classic 2D overlays. Probably everybody has already played around with this classic Junaio browser, and you looked into you know, the environment. Oh, there is a Starbucks restaurant, you know, 500 meters away. So this is kind of not that super sexy 2D overlay. You look into the real world and get some 2D overlay on it, but it can get more exciting, like having real 3D overlays. Maybe you know the company Metaio. It was a Munich company, the world leader of augmented reality tools. They have been recently bought by Apple. And they had a very exciting technology, and one of the exciting applications for it was an IKEA AR catalog. So, and the quality is really good. You go into this catalog, you scan basically a piece of furniture and go into your living room, and then you put this object in 3D in your living room. And they have been also able to replicate the correct lighting. So, they captured basically the lighting conditions in that room and made sure that the shadow of your virtual object is in the same direction like the real shadow from the other object. So it was pretty cool, you know. And this is getting into the area where the blending over of the virtual and the real world is getting really exciting, you know. And so the 3D stuff, and of course, you know, Microsoft is potentially bringing it to the next level with hologram and even more exciting blending over of these technologies. So we will see next year, hopefully. All right, so but then we talked about visualization. And the last thing I like to talk about is how can you virtualize, you know, things? How can you really give people the ability to explore something which is either real or artificial, you know. So you can virtualize even human bodies, you know. There are some studios out there with sophisticated camera setups. We did some tests with a facility in Prague. You know, they have, in the meantime, camera rigs with more than 200 DSLR cameras. You get into this setup and they take in one picture with 200 DSLR cameras. And you get around about 12 million polygons then when you try to make a 3D object, or even more. But the realism you can get from this capturing is amazing, So you can really do this body scanning, You can, of course, create some objects which are not real now. Let's say my neighbor is selling luxury boats, They have some designer sitting in Italy. They're designing boats for, I don't know, 50, 60 millions, They are not built yet, but when you want to sell it to a customer, you maybe want to give him the ability to go into this cool thing, maybe to even do some customization of the furniture, of things like that. So it's cool to really build objects which are not real yet and give the ability to explore. On the other hand, you can, of course, do some total crazy stuff, give people the ability to experience, to build some virtual worlds and give them experiences like people will never have. Think about a roller coaster ride, where you have all the G forces and whatever, and then you put a virtual reality headset on it, and I call this overplay. And then you're doing the same roller coaster ride with the same physics and the G power, but you are a dragon flying in an artificial kingdom, whatever. So it's giving you the ability to blend over the real world and some total artificial stuff you probably will never ever experience in that way in your life. So that's exciting. Okay, so with that, I'm coming close to the end, and I just want to finish with a low-tech but high-impact technology I mentioned before. This is this cardboard stuff. We have built our own cardboard. Like you can see here, like you can try out later. We believe it's a great opportunity now to start to deliver this kind of experiences to the masses, even without having tons of Oculus Rifts delivered, and so we are strongly believe in this low entry on the market, saying put just your smartphone in like this, or even your iPhone, whatever, into a piece of cardboard and start to play around with these immersive experiences. You can do augmentation. Let's say you are in a real estate business and somebody is going on the building side of the new house. You can put this into your cardboard. People can see the real environment. They see the 3D model of their house, and they look outside of the window of their new house, and they can see what kind of part of the neighbor building they will see, or what the neighbor will see from your building. And that's exciting. And this is something you can do today for nearly no money. And so this is the power we see in this cardboard movement, and I think it will help to really spread out this augmented virtual immersive experiences in a big way. And with that, I think I'm at the end of this presentation. Thank you very much. If you have some questions, please ask now or later. I'm here for the rest of the evening. Thank you.
So the real challenge, for instance, for the cardboards would be to actually develop the applications, right? Not like the hardware. It doesn't really seem to be too complicated or too costly, but actually the applications to develop.
I think in the end, when you build some virtual or immersive content or media, it's just a matter of let's say you need to adjust them to the capabilities of your device. Let's say when you have a Oculus Rift in mind, you can have a much higher frame rate. You need much better quality of your video, of your 3D models, but you can scale it down to a certain extent to be even cool on a low-end device. What you're of course missing is the interaction stuff, But I think in general, the problem we have today, there is no standard. Every manufacturer comes up with his own input devices. The one is using some ultrasound, infrared, whatever technology. The other had an input device. And we don't even have a common understanding on how a user interface should look like. Today you can take an ordinary computer, you see a keyboard and a mouse, and you know how to regardless if it's Linux, Mac, or Windows. You know, you are somehow familiar to how to use it. But it's not the case when you put on an application for a virtual or augmented reality headset, because every vendor or every app builder has built his own kind of way, you know. Leap Motion is doing cool stuff. We're doing a boxing game right now, and we thought, why not use your hand and the boxing glove as the user interface? So when you do a gesture, you see the boxing glove, and then it pops up like a menu, and you can do some control. It was our idea for the boxing game, but another person or another game developer is coming up with another idea. So we don't have really a good standardized input technology or even user interface, you know. And so the minimum common ground is to use some on-screen buttons, you know, like there's a virtual control popping up, you know, and even when you don't have any other input tool, you just look on a certain object, and when you don't look away, it's like you know, it's like a button press. Yeah. So and this is, you know, for me, one of the most exciting things, how the user interface and the user experience with all these devices will standardize over time. Yeah. But I think this will take a couple of years. Okay.
I had a comment, I got no question, but you were asking about how this will impact what we think about it. I was at CES this January in Las Vegas, and this was the first time that a big chunk of the floor was given to where you at CES?
Last year, not this year.
So this year CES, a big chunk of the space was VR hardware, and there was excitement in that space. So the Omnics, there were two booths on display, and someone was playing a game all the time. And there were at least 24 people standing in front of it. Every time I walked by, 24 people standing in front of it, watching it, wanting to play. They weren't allowed to play with it. And Oculus had a demo of about eight rooms with their Rift devices. And every day, the queue was about 2 booths long to get into it. Those are people who had not signed up. And there was a similar queue for people who had signed up. So now this is a self-selected group. These are electronics people, these are mostly engineers and business people in that sphere. But still, the excitement was amazing. There was no such excitement in any other part. There was some is a wearable section, but no other part of CES had the excitement that virtual reality had.
So this makes me happy. You know, by the way, 2 years ago, I was about wearables. I was excited about wearables and stuff, you know. And you see the power of this. And there's also this kind of expectation that every 10 years there's a new computing platform, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people already think that this kind of virtual augmented thing is going to be the next big thing. And to be honest, I fully believe, I feel myself like being in the early days, we did online before the internet, you know, and everybody thought, wow, now the web is there and something big is going on. Nobody did know what will happen, but everybody had the impression this is going to be big, you know. And for me, it's the same with this stuff now. And I see it nearly every day. Like today, we have been on the Royal Jungle, a startup event, whatever, and a lot of people have seen the first time in their life a cardboard and a virtual reality headset. And it takes mostly 5 to 10 seconds to get either a cool, guile, shit, wow, you know. So, and nearly every second person is having this experience. They are super excited. And I think there is a certain power in this first time experience. And maybe it's just this little moment, but most people who wear this the first time get excited about it, and this creates some long-term potential for business, you know. And you're just emphasizing, yes, it's.
Yeah, and since Intel people are here, I would say that the Intel RealSense display was amazing. They really thought through how to demonstrate it. They had long-distance and RealSense devices, so you could walk through a cave that would interact with you, it would change, that you could touch something and the weather would change. It was very good.
So. The future will be bright, it will be immersive.